If you're a heavy SQL user like myself, which constantly needing to import data from Excel file to SQL Server, then you'll find this video extremely useful. In this video, we'll create a very handy Python program to dynamically import tables from Excel file to SQL Server or any database without writing a single line of SQL statement. Alright, so here let me go into my project folder. In this folder, I have this Excel file. Now let me open the Excel file. In this file, I have 3 tabs. And each tab is going to represent its own table. That means that I have 3 tables that I'm going to import to my SQL Server database when I run the Python program. And for demonstration purpose, I'm going to import the tables to this my demo database. Alright, so currently there's no tables reside in this database, so it's completely empty. Alright, so go ahead and launch your terminal because we need to first of all install the Python packages that we'll be using to make the program to work. Alright, so there are 3 libraries that we'll be using. One is the pandas library, which is a very powerful data analysis Python package, followed by the pyodbc Python package, which is a very popular library that provides a very simple and efficient way to interact with database using the ODBC API. And the third library that we'll be using is the SQL Alchemy, which is an object relational mapping Python package which provides a set of high-level tools for working with relational databases using Python. Alright, so here in my terminal, I'm going to type pip install. Then I'm going to type the package's name. And the first one is going to be pandas. And the second one is going to be the pyodbc library. And the third one is going to be the SQL Alchemy Python package. And press enter. And once the Python libraries are installed, open your code editor. I'm using VS Code and create a blank Python script. Alright, so here for the import statement, here let me make the font a little bit bigger. Alright, so for the import statement, I'm going to import pandas library as PD. Then I'm going to import pyodbc as odbc. Then from the SQL Alchemy module, I'm going to import the create engine function. And this function is used to create a connection to your database. Now from the SQL Alchemy.engine module, I'm going to import this URL class. And the URL class is used to construct the connection string. Now once we import the libraries, we can now go ahead and prepare the variables. Now there are 3 things we'll need. One is the server address. And let me name this to server name. Now if you don't know how to get the server name, now in SQL Server we can run the select followed by 2 symbols, server name, and runs, and that will return the server address. Now here me insert the use my demo statement to connect to the my demo database. Now here to connect to my SQL Server database, I'm going to create the connection URL first using the URL.create method. Now here we need to specify the database type. And for SQL Server, it's going to be MS SQL. And also need to specify the Python library that we'll be using to connect to our database. Now here I'm using pyodbc. Despite the name difference, essentially pyodbc and pyodbc, those 2 are the same libraries, except that with the pyodbc library, I don't have that much issue when I'm using the pyodbc Python package. Now going back to the URL.create method, now here we need to construct the connection string using the query parameter. Now here to pass the connection string, so first we need to create a dictionary. Now for the key is going to be odbc connect. And here I need to replace that with server name. Now for the value, we need to provide the driver type. And it's going to be, let me maximize the window. And it's going to be SQL Server, followed by the server address, followed by the database that I want to connect to. Now to actually connect to the database, we need to use the create engine function. And we'll pass the connection URL and set the module that I want to use to connect to the database. Now, once we establish a database connection, the next thing we need to do here is we need to import the Excel file. Alright, so here my Excel file is going to be stock historical data.xlsx. Then I'm going to use pandas.reexcel method, and I'm going to load the Excel file. And to load every single Excel worksheet, I need to set the sheet name to none. Right, so here let me go ahead and run this code block. And I'll walk you to the step individually. Alright, so here if I print the div Excel object, now it's going to return as a dictionary. So here for the first item is going to be Amazon, and followed by Microsoft. And Google is not showing, but I know it's there. So here if we print the keys. Now from the div Excel object, we have 3 items, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. Now the keys is going to be the worksheet name. And for the value, it's going to be the data frame data in each worksheet. Now if I run the values function, and it's going to return 3 data frame data ties to each worksheet. Now to import those 3 tables into SQL Server, we simply just need to iterate each dictionary object using the items method. Now the items method is going to return the key and value. So for the value, we know it's going to be the data frame object, and the key is going to be the worksheet name. Now just in case, if a worksheet does not contain any data, I want to use this if statement. If the data frame is empty, then I want to skip this iteration, then go to the next item. Otherwise, from the data frame object, there's a function called to SQL method, and it's a very, very powerful function to work with database. Now, if we look at the documentation string, and if we look at the if exists parameter, so here we have 3 options. We can set the parameter either as fail, replace, or append. Fail means that if the table exists, then it's going to throw an exception. And replace is going to replace the existing table. Append is going to basically add the records to the existing table. Alright, so here using the toSQL method, I need to set the table name. Then we're going to provide the database connection, followed by how we want to handle the scenario when a table already exists. And because I don't want to import the index, I'm going to set the index to false. Now in terms of the data type, so SQL Alchemy is going to try its best to identify the data type based on each column's value. And the library doesn't get right all the time. So just in case, if I want to merely set the data type for a specific field, so we can go to the documentation, and here are all the supported data type, which I'll link the link in the description below so you can reference this documentation page. Now let's say I want to specify, let's see. Alright, so let's say I want to set the dates field as varchar data type. Alright, so going back to the import statement, I'm going to import the SQL Alchemy library by itself. Alright, so going back to the toSQL method, and here we can use this dtype parameter to specify a column's data type. Alright, so my field name is going to be date. So I'm going to change this to date. Now for the data type, we can reference the data type list using SQL Alchemy data types, followed by the data type object. In this case, I'm using varchar. Now inside the varchar class, I can set the character limit using the length parameter, and I'll set the character limit to 10. Alright, so this is basically everything we need to write to create this Python program. And as you can see that there's only 20 lines of code. Now here, let me go ahead and terminate this session. And I'll put the script and my SQL Server window side by side. Alright, so here I'm going to press F5 to run the Python script. Now it looks like the script is finished. Now if I go back to my SQL Server Management Studio, Now here I'm going to refresh my tables folder. And here are the 3 tables that I uploaded using the Python program. Now just for verification, let me go ahead and select the records from just one of the tables. Now if I run the select statement, and here's the table output. And if we look at the column data types, now for the date column, I know I set the data type to varchar with the character size to 10. Now for everything else, based on the value, SQL Alchemy is going to, like I said before, it's going to try its best to identify the data type. Alright, so this is going to be everything I'm going to cover in this video, and hope you guys find this video useful. And feel free to post your question or feedback in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this video a like and click on the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.